This is the PA system owned by the village hall. It needs a mains power supply, but it can be used indoors or outdoors. It can produce plenty of volume and good quality sound. It's suitable for playing music at a party or supporting a small band, but our main use is for announcements at the village show. These are the components. We usually store them under the stage in the hall. Speaker stands. A pair of lightweight speakers. And a storage box containing the amplifier. A shoebox containing the mixer and audio leads. A bag containing a 4-gang electric extension lead, 2 10-meter speaker leads, and a kettle plug. And a case containing the wireless microphone kit. Each microphone uses a rectangular 9-volt battery. It's a good idea to bring at least one spare battery of your own with you. Make sure you have all of the components before you start to assemble them. Assembly will normally take about 20 to 30 minutes the first time you try it. Remember that if you do decide to use the system, you're also accepting full personal responsibility for all aspects of safety, including checking the condition and sighting all of the components, including the leads and wires. Start by deciding where you're going to locate the speakers and the amplifier. The amplifier needs to be near a power source. The speaker cables are 10 meters long, so the speakers need to be no more than about 7 meters from the amplifier. The speakers will sound best if they're head height or above. Be very mindful of where the speaker cables and power leads will be routed, and also where the feet of the speaker stands will be situated. They're all trip hazards. You can set the components up in any order you like, but here we're going to start with these speakers. Take out the stands and put the first one in position. Loosen the locking knob so that you can spread the feet out to about 1 meter width. Then tighten the locking knob. It only needs to be finger tight, don't force it. Now loosen the top locking knob and lift up the telescopic height adjustment pole. It has 8 pairs of holes for setting at whatever height you want. Push the support pin through one of the pairs of holes to fix the height. You probably want to set it with about 5 holes showing above the base. Then tighten the locking knob. Again, it only needs to be finger tight. The speakers have a recess in the bottom where they fit over the stand. Lift up the speaker and guide the recess over the top of the pole. This is much easier with 2 people. When it's in the right place, it slots in comfortably. Repeat the process with the other stand and speaker. Now take out the amplifier. Use 2 hands, it's surprisingly heavy. From the bag, take out the 2 speaker cables and the kettle plug. From the shoebox, take out the 2 audio leads which have red tape on the ends. At the back of the amplifier, plug in each of the 2 audio leads into the sockets which are also marked with red tape. Plug in the kettle plug. Take a speaker cable and hold the blue plug at one end. Put your thumb on the silver clip and draw the clip towards your hand. Now hold the plug so that the clip is at about the 11 o'clock position and push it into its socket on the amplifier. Then turn the plug until the clip is at 12 o'clock and then release it. Repeat with the other blue speaker plug on the other cable. The clips aren't quite identical, but they both work the same way. Route one of the speaker cables across the room to one of the speakers. Make sure there's some slack in the cable and no tight corners. And obviously, make sure the cable doesn't create a trip hazard. Wrap the cable loosely around the speaker stand twice and then push the jack plug into either of the sockets on the back of the speaker. And repeat with the other speaker cable. Now on the amplifier, check that the two volume controls are set like this to begin with, at 0 volume. Don't plug it in yet. Now take the mixer out of the shoebox along with its power adapter and also the audio lead, which has white tape at the ends. Put the mixer on top of the amplifier and connect its power adapter. The adapter has a screw ring to keep it securely in place. Take each of the audio leads with the red taped ends and plug them into the mixer in the sockets, which are also marked with red tape. Then take the audio lead with the white taped ends and plug it into the mixer in the socket marked with white tape. On the mixer, check that all the controls are in these positions to begin with. Pause the video here if you need to. Now from the microphone case, take out the wireless receiver along with its power adapter. Pull up the aerials. One of them is broken, but it still seems to work okay. Put the receiver on top of the amplifier and connect its power adapter. Take the audio lead with the white taped ends and plug it into the receiver in the socket marked with white tape. On the front of the receiver, check that the two volume controls are in the 12 o'clock position to begin with. Now take the mains extension lead out of the bag, plug it into a mains socket and switch it on. Plug in the amplifier, the mixer and the receiver. Switch the amplifier on. You'll hear the fan starts. Switch on the mixer. And switch on the receiver. Now from the microphone case, take out one of the microphones and fit a battery. Turn the microphone on and flick the switch from standby to live. Now on the amplifier, slowly turn up one of the volume controls while tapping the head of the microphone until you can hear the tapping through one of the speakers. Now turn that control back to 0 and repeat with the other volume control. You should be able to hear the tapping through the other speaker. If you're intending to have both microphones available to use, put a battery in the other one and repeat the tapping test. Try to remember to turn the microphone off whenever you're not using it to preserve the battery life. Notice that one of the microphones has a square of grey tape on it, and on the receiver one of the volume controls has a square of grey tape next to it. This is to indicate which volume control is for which microphone. So now you know everything is working. So next you need to check the overall volume level and check for feedback. Give one of the microphones to an assistant, ask them to stand in the places where the presenter will be speaking from, and say a few words into the microphone. While they're speaking, gradually turn up both the volume controls on the amplifier until you're happy with the sound level. If you start to hear feedback, very quickly turn the volume back to 0 and then turn it up again very slowly. If the feedback persists, you'll have to tell the presenter not to use the mic from that particular part of the room. If the volume isn't loud enough, you can increase it further using either the volume controls on the receiver or on the mixer. It's also a good idea, if possible, to ask the presenter to do a quick sound check of their own. Their voice might need a fine adjustment to the bass or treble frequencies. You would do this on the mixer. If they're not available for a sound check or you don't have time, try to do it subtly during the first few minutes when they're speaking. In case your presenter isn't familiar with using a microphone, here are a few important tips. You need to keep the microphone with the head close to your chin at all times so that your voice flows over the top of it. Don't speak directly into the head. It will pick up ugly breathing and puffing and hissing noises whenever you say consonants. If you move your head to the side while you're talking, keep the microphone next to your chin the whole time. If you don't, the amplified sound will fade in and out and the audience will find it very annoying. Similarly, don't waggle your holding hand while you're talking, and don't use that arm to gesticulate. So now everything's set up and ready to start your presentation. Don't forget that at the end you'll need to dismantle everything and leave it all as you found it. Put all the empty boxes into the big plastic container for the time being, so that you'll be able to find them when you need them later. Packing away is quicker than setting up. It'll take about 10 to 15 minutes. First, turn both the microphones off and remove the batteries. Pack them in their case. On the amplifier, turn both the volume controls down to 0 and turn it off. Turn the receiver off and put the aerials down. Unplug the power cable and the audio lead and put the receiver in its case. Notice that it only fits in properly one way round with the bottom facing upwards. Put the power adapter in its box and put it in the case. Put the case into the big storage box. On the mixer, turn the power off, unscrew the power cable and unplug it at both ends. Unplug the 3 audio leads. Put the power adapter away in its box and put the box into the shoebox. Put the mixer and the audio lead with the white ends into the shoebox. Now on the amplifier, unplug both of the audio leads with the red ends and put them into the shoebox. Unplug the kettle plug at both ends and put it into the bag. Unplug the extension lead and wrap the wire neatly around the unit and put it into the bag as well. Unplug both of the speaker cables by turning the plugs about 30 degrees anti-clockwise and then pulling them out. Put the amplifier into the bottom of the large storage box. Remember, it's quite heavy. Now put the shoebox into the storage box. Unplug one of the speaker cables from the speaker. Gather the end loosely around your arm and wrap the end a few times to make a neat bundle. Repeat with the other speaker lead and put both leads into the bag. Finally, put the bag into the large plastic crate. Now start taking down one of the speakers. First, make sure the top locking knob is finger tight. Then lift the speaker off its stand. This will need 2 people. Now loosen the top locking knob, remove the support pin and lower the telescopic pole. Then loosen the lower locking knob and draw in the feet. Repeat with the other speaker. Put the speaker stands back in their carry bag and zip it up. Make sure all the components are stored away tidily and close together. Make sure the 2 speakers are stored face to face so that the foam doesn't get punctured by any other objects which are knocking around in the storage area. And finally, you can go and pour yourself that drink you've earned. Cheers.